Hey, everybody. Welcome to Grilling at the Green. I'm JT, and we're proudly part of the Golf News network on iHeart, among a million other platforms and radio stations. How's your golf game this week? Well, we're talking to somebody very interesting today, Keith Scioli, who developed a program called Golf Live, and we're going to talk to Keith in just a minute. First, we'd like to thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef, beef the way nature intended, and also the Oregon Crab Commission. From sea to plate. If you've never had Oregon Dungeness crab or any Dungeness crab from the West Coast, I recommend highly that you try it. Of course, I'm a foodie guy, as you know, and so you can take that recommendation to the bank. Anyway, we're talking with Keith Scioli today. Keith developed a program, an app, if you will, called Golf Live. It's got a lot of benefits to it, and we're going to get into those as the show goes on. But also, he did it for a specific reason. Keith, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I really
No,
appreciate
no problem. This is kind of a very interesting thing to me because, there's a lot of golf apps out there that are like very much on the tech side. Your yardage, your swing path, your this, that, the other thing. And that's all well and good, but yours is a little different. Just for the fact of who you can communicate with and at what time. Do you want to give us a little thumbnail on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Golf Live is a live virtual coaching application that allows you to have real-time golf instruction with PGA professionals from all around the world. And we have a live replay technology that we've patented that is embedded into the virtual calls. So it is just like a coach is standing right behind you, and they're actually able to record you and then immediately play that back for you with drawing and analytics. And then after the session's over, the entire lesson itself is also saved for you. So you have all your live replays, all the notes from the session, and then your whole 1 hour lesson is also going to be saved in your profile for you. And so it creates a very interactive and impactful and effective golf lesson. And we've had people from all over the world on the platform taking lessons, all different age groups. And it sounds really interesting taking a virtual lesson. A lot of people say, will that work for me? And then the feedback normally comes back saying, this is actually more effective because 2 weeks from now, I'm actually going to be able to remember everything
Yeah.
that took place.
Now that's kind of cool because, like I said, and there's not, I like all the programs myself, and I'm kind of a numbers nerd at times. So, when they say, well, the little chart shows you that you hit your 7 iron 165 yards and you're only, in my case, 37 yards off the target, something like that. And that's all well and good, but it's difficult for people to, well, let me rephrase that. I think it's better for people if they can have live interaction with somebody on the other end, somebody they trust, not their buddy going, you raised your head and you scolded. Um, Jesus, how many times have we heard that? Golfing.
We when we talk to a lot of these coaches, data for the golfer is great. It is. I'm not discounting that one bit. But if you don't know what to do with that data, well, then what good is the data?
Yeah.
And so having a PGA or LPGA professional that helps guide you with that data, tells you what to fix or how to improve that data, then you can put the two together. But until that point, you're just a guessing game out there on the range trying to hack it through and figure out
Yeah.
what to change.
Well, the one thing I like about this too, Keith, is that um, time permitting, you could actually use this during a round. One of the nice things out there now, and they've been doing it for a long time, is you know, uh, coaches, teachers will play around with you or a few holes with you and help you when you're on the course. Because as you know, sometimes it's very tough to take what you're practicing and what you're learning on the range when you're in a very compartmentalized and easy situation. Hit another one, until you get it right, if you do get it right. To when you're out there on a playing lesson on the course, and if it's not too stacked up with people, you can actually get some instruction and advice during a round. And I like that a lot.
It's exactly right. We've actually had, and I won't, it's not our largest use case scenario,
Sure.
but we've had many, many 3-hour playing lessons taken on the platform for sure.
Yeah.
And they just clip the phone on the golf cart and your coach is riding with you everywhere you go. And it doesn't slow things down too much, but it allows for the coach to give you that quick thought process, right? Before you go
Hmm.
in, and also from a game management, right? Maybe you're going to pull out a 7-iron and he's going to say, hold on a second here, right? What's the wind doing right now? And so there's definitely a lot of benefits to having a playing lesson on the platform for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that anytime I've had a playing lesson, which I've not had too many, just a couple, but it is knocked my score down by at least, 5 to 7 shots.
Yeah.
Um, and now I can't replicate that every round, but that's
Right.
on me,
Right. Right.
but they can help you on that. This is what they do, and this is now a tool that they can communicate with you, audio wise and video wise, right there
Absolutely.
on the course.
And we created really what is a one-stop shop when it comes to golf lessons, whether that be for the coach or for the student. And the fact that yes, we have the live calls, right? With the live replay, everything's recorded and saved for you. But additionally, we have on-demand calling. Maybe you need to call in really fast and it's just one tap. Maybe you want to schedule it. Okay, let's get it scheduled. But we also have async lessons where you can do the voiceover analysis back and forth, in an unlimited manner with your coach. So you have multiple touch points between your live sessions and your pre-recorded videos being sent back and forth. And so it's constant dialogue, constant touch points. And then whenever you want a little bit of entertainment and knowledge, you have access to our live streams as well, with a lot of really incredible people from around the world getting on to do live streams that you can ask questions to.
That would be kind of a hoot. Now I've not used your app yet. I just recently, very recently, thanks to a mutual friend of ours, Ted Simons, uh, got familiar with this. So I plan on using it. I'm not
Absolutely.
sure if my coach is going to look and go, "No, don't bother." That could well be the case, but I think it's kind of really interesting. Do you get most of your feedback is positive? I would
Yes,
assume.
yes, we do. And like I was saying earlier, we have people all the way from like that. There was a 3-hour playing lesson the other day, from a 12-year-old that is down in Florida. Their coach was up in Pennsylvania. And so that the mom that was with the kid, she doesn't necessarily know everything the coach does, obviously.
Sure, sure.
So they had the coach come in and ride along with them. And then we have another coach just told me that he had a 78-year-old woman that's a member at the club uh, uh, call him, and they got on a lesson while she was not there at the club, and she was going to go play a round of golf, and she wanted him to help while she was warming up. And so just in the last 7 days, I've had a range from 12 years old to 78 years old, right? And I really created Golf Live down to the foundation of where we came from. Was I was in corporate America. I'm married with kids. I've got 3, and getting a golf lesson was not a priority for me, and
No.
with everything going on, right? And so I really wanted to create a better way of doing things, because I was about to head to a golf tournament with my family. It's very, very competitive cousins golf tournament that we do every year. And I developed the S word right
Oh,
there the Wednesday night before I head out Thursday morning to the golf trip. And 8 o'clock at night, I just felt like at the time, this is right before COVID hit, felt like in, almost 2020, that there had to be somebody out there in the world that could help me right then and there. And it just really didn't exist. And so we went out and built it for busy professionals like myself, that the only time they can hit balls is maybe 8 o'clock in the 8:30 at night in their backyard.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Keith Scioli. Did I say that right?
It's Scioli, but yes,
Scioli.
close.
Okay.
It's
I'm,
close
I'm
enough.
close there. All right. Keith and I will be back here on Grilling at the Green in just a minute. Don't go away. Welcome back to Grilling at the Green here on Golf News Network and in sundry other list of stations. We've got Keith Scioli. Did I say it right that time?
You did,
How
absolutely.
about that? Founder of Golf Live. Keith, this is the part of the show where I always ask our guest um, for a golf travel tip. Okay. You've traveled, obviously, and now that you got three kids, my word, I remember those days. My wife and I laugh every night we're watching TV. There's a commercial on there, I guess, for one of the hotel chains or something, and this family and kids and the stuffed animals trying to get it all in the car and all that stuff. And we look at each other and kind of grin. But you're right in the middle of that. So, what's a good travel tip for people?
The travel industry might not like me, or the airline industry might not like me too much for this one, but you know what I did recently when flying with my golf clubs was I actually threw, and maybe a lot of people do this, I don't know, but I actually put a lot of my clothes and luggage and whatnot inside of my golf bag so that I could take a small carry-on. That way, with all the kids' stuff and all the other luggage, I just had a small bag instead of a bigger bag. But my golf bag, so I was going to bring the golf bag anyway, and there's a bunch of extra space in that bag. I
Yeah.
just stuffed all my clothes in there, my shoes, my boots, and my toiletries. So I had a tiny little carry-on bag, and it seemed to nobody gave me any issues at the airport for having a rather heavy golf bag, but that saved us some space for sure.
Oh, that's a good tip. We'd like to thank the folks at Weston Kia, the Northwest, and especially the Portland area's largest Kia dealer out there in Gresham, Oregon. We thank Jay and Jan for that. Um, One thing we didn't talk about in the first segment, I want to get to it right now, Keith, is what prompted you? You talked a little bit about it, like you needed some help, but there's also a personal reason why you kind of prompted you to develop Golf Live.
Yeah, my little brother was the golfer in the family. I wasn't too much of a golfer, and my little brother passed away of a diabetic coma, and while I was a junior in college, and golf really became my therapeutic time and release to go spend time with him, and so I fell in love with the game. I really got addicted to the game, and that was really my happy place out there. And so I really got to spend my time with my brother, right? That was no longer here on earth, but spiritually got to, uh,
Sure.
right? And so really, really loved the game. And as I was mentioning, you get into, this corporate America ladder, right? And family and whatnot. That time to go play with him or even hit balls on the range really went by the wayside. And so I loved the game so much, and I wanted to get better at it. And then all of a sudden it turned into, when I was playing, I was just getting worse and worse and worse. So it's even more frustrating when it's supposed to be my therapy. And so I just felt like there had to be a better way to get good at this game that I loved. But that is the reason why I fell in love with the game of golf. Yeah.
I understand the the part you were just talking about. Excuse me. Um, the frustration. I'm a little older than you. My daughter's grown up like that, but I've been in the media business for a long, long time. And I had another part of my life too that I was very involved in, that I was an official, sports official, and I traveled a lot. And there never was enough time. That my time really was relegated usually on late Sundays to watching the end of a golf tournament in a bar on the air in the airport while I was trying to come home, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And that caused in my life some frustration because I love to play golf. But I didn't have time to practice. I had great sticks, but they didn't get a lot of mileage on those sticks because, I bought them and instead of playing, 25, 30 rounds a year or whatever the norm is, I'd maybe play three or four
Right.
and that. And so finally, kid grew up, things calmed down a little bit, as they do when children grow up. And I started being able to play more. The frustration was still there. And then once I learned to let that go, then I started having fun again. So that's
Oh,
my story, and I'm sticking to it. So,
I I love it. I think it's fantastic.
yeah.
And right. And to that point about only getting 3 rounds in, our really our largest customer base right now and who we serve are the people that I was just talking about in myself in corporate America, where we actually will go and set up in offices and towers and whatnot. And the companies will pay us a monthly membership. So all the tenants or employees can have access to a coach right then and there.
Yeah.
And at lunchtime, they can go into the net and mat that we set up or the simulator and hit balls for 30 minutes and take a lesson. And so we're coming and making it more convenient in a very creative manner.
Well, and you're to be commended, um, Keith, about doing this for Anthony, in memory of Anthony, to be close to Anthony. All those things incorporated in that. Uh, but I think that's a very, very cool thing to do. Okay, that's just a personal note there, but I think that's a very, very cool thing to do. We've got about a minute before we need to go to break. What has it been successful getting into these, the corporate? God, every time anybody says corporate to me anymore, I just shudder. So,
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. It has been successful, and we're seeing a lot of. I just received a couple emails from a commercial real estate company just the other day that their tenants were emailing them saying how thankful they were to have that, because it impacts a company's culture and their bottom line whenever, because the power of golf, it really does. And so then when a individual can improve themselves from a physical and mental standpoint through the power of golf, it can do a lot of special things within a company. So yes, it's been successful, and we're excited to continue to take it out to the world.
good for you. Keith and I are going to take another break. We're going to be back and do a little more chatting about Golf Live, the app there, on Grilling at the Green in just a minute. Welcome back to Grilling at the Green. Again, we'd like to thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef, beef the way nature intended. Also, my friends at Birdie Ball over there in Colorado, John Breaker. John crashed his bicycle and had a little hip problem, but he's on the mend. So they're doing great again. And lastly, right now, my co-host on the barbecue show, Leanne Whippen, she has got, if you're into barbecue or even just really good cooking, she's got a product called pig powder. Uh, what are you talking about? No, it's a great rub. You can go to pigpowder.com. I recommend that one too. I use it a lot on my stuff, on my shows that I do. So go to pigpowder.com. But anyway, we're talking with Keith Scioli today, founder of Golf Live. And can any coach use this? I mean, is there a membership they have to pay, or how does this work?
Yeah, so we actually do a lot of vetting, to be quite honest with you. We have credible and vetted coaches on the platform. And yes, it's a marketplace where any one of your listeners that plays golf right now can go create a golfer profile, and they're going to see recommended coaches, or they can sort, short game irons, drivers, etc., and be able to find a coach. But as far as coaches go, we definitely want to have credible coaches that we vet and train on the platform and make sure that they're equipped with the tech in a really uh, 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 good manner. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as their coaching abilities and whatnot, we don't get too much into their coaching abilities. We just want to make sure that they're a credible coach and that it's not just someone that, is says that they're a pretty good golfer and thinks that they can coach somebody. So we have credible and vetted coaches.
And what about people like me that are on the other side? Um, can I just dial up one of those coaches, and do I pay a fee to the coach, or if it's my private coach but I'm playing in Arizona and he's here in Oregon, uh, how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. We have it happen all the time where someone says, "Hey, I would love to be using this with my coach," and they will introduce us to their coach, and we'll get the coach up and running and equipped with all the tech, and then you would actually be paying your coach still, but just on the platform,
Yeah.
and it creates a really easy payment processing flow for you and the coach, and you no longer have to worry about bringing cash to the range, and he no longer has to worry about, which platform I'm scheduling you on, or where I'm texting you on, or where I'm getting payment from. It's all
Right.
in place. So it creates a really streamlined process for both of you.
Cool. But to sign up and stuff, there's no fee, right?
No, no, it's free to download, create a profile, come look around. You only pay once you sign up and start taking lessons with a coach. And we
Okay.
have memberships, so you can go and look at all of our offerings. So the memberships, the coaches make them themselves. We don't make anything. So you're not paying Golf Live, you're paying the coach. And so you'll see on there they might have 5 different tiers of memberships, or they might sell a package of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Might just want to do a one-on-one lesson, or a one-off, lesson before entering into a membership. And we've got it all there, and our coaches set it all up, and they curate it to however they want within their business, and we don't mess with that.
Cool. So how do you make any money on this?
We take a commission of what
Sure.
the coaches do on the platform, and
Yeah.
it's very different. We don't necessarily do subscriptions right now. We the coaches, we want to help scale their business. We want to help them streamline their current business, and so we give them access to the tech. We lend them a marketing arm as well, and really help them integrate this into their current book, as well as get out there in a virtual manner as well. And so we end up we found that it works best to take a smaller commission of everything that
Sure.
that
Sure. I'm
comes.
not trying to pry too much, but I just always
Yeah,
curious about things like that. Do the coaches need any special equipment other than maybe their cell phone, or if they've got it set up to shoot from a laptop, that you know what I mean, that they can integrate all that into one system, which is really easy to do anymore, and maybe look at it on a bigger screen for them? Is Do they need anything special other than that?
they don't need anything special at all. We do encourage coaches to use iPads to have a bigger screen,
Sure.
but you can do it from your phone, or your iOS and Android, or you can do it from your tablet or your iPad. And it's most of our coaches. We also can get them a deal with iRange, who we partnered with for a tripod, and that's really about it. I would say that here coming soon, and I don't know if this is a question on your list here, but here, pretty
Fire away.
in 2024, we will actually be integrating with a launch monitor, and so that will be equipment that the golfer would need to have. But all of that data, okay, we talked about data
Right.
versus communication earlier. All that data will actually populate on the screen automatically for the coach to be able to see, and then we'll be taking data and real-time instruction no matter where you are in the world.
Wow. Now, but the player would have to have the launch monitor,
The
obviously.
player would, not the coach, but the player would. Yes, that's
Is
exactly.
it? I don't want to pry too much, but yes, I do really want to pry. Uh, is it going to be more of one of the portable ones that you can, again, about the size of an iPhone, or maybe it is on your iPhone or what have you, and something very portable like that versus, if you go to Golf Tech or one of those, they've got launch monitors. They're still reasonable. They're not a 57-inch TV or anything like that, but uh, they're pretty stationary, for the
Right.
most part.
Right. No, you're not going to be lugging a massive thing around. I promise you that. It's going to be a smaller portable one that's already out there on the market and very reputable, and their clients love it. And so, but yes, you'll be able to take it with you everywhere.
Well, when you get to that point, let me know, and I want to talk to you again about that, because I just find this stuff fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, for a guy my age to be a numbers geek, um, and I spent most of my life trying to avoid it. But now I've kind of gotten into it, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, I was looking at the data from our shows the other day, and I'm going, well, I wonder if I can extrapolate that, you know, blah blah blah. And yeah, it's fun to do that. Don't want to get off in the weeds in it too much because you lose, you can lose yourself out there, kind of like some of those balls at the U.S. Open, you know, the last weekend.
I was just telling somebody the other day that I'm not into the numbers, to be quite honest with you. I feel like I play better whenever I have a coach communicating to me and giving me a thought process to kind of go by instead of
Sure.
trying to improve a certain number. But honestly, I played in the Live Pro Am the other day, and hope that's okay to.
Yeah, sure.
And we had a really great time in Kevin Na. They had a quad out there, and it was really the first time in a long time that I was reading numbers, and my swing speed, good, bad, or indifferent, was at like 157. Not swing speed, sorry, ball speed, not
Ball
swing speed.
speed.
Ball speed was
I
like
was
one.
gonna go if you're at 157 on your swing speed, you're the fastest guy on the planet, you know?
Yeah, no, I meant ball speed. And that didn't mean much to me until I saw that Rory has a ball speed of like 190. And I was like, man, that is unbelievable to me. I thought I was pounding those drives out there the other
Yeah.
day. And I'm nowhere close. So that was fascinating from a numbers standpoint.
Yeah, my ball speed's about 12. So my swing speed's about 9. So
That's great.
I
That's great.
love to make fun of myself because I can do it better than most people. Um, you know, you talked in this, we've got time here. Excuse me. Um, did COVID, you know, I was reading the information and it said you kind of came at this a little pre-COVID and you sent out a bunch of emails to PGA members and you got like one response from a guy up in Boston, Alan Belden, I think his name was. And then COVID hit, and all of a sudden you're getting emails like, "Hey, did you continue? Did you actually build that program? Did you actually do that?" It's funny how that story and so many other stories around the world of golf, Keith, are centered around COVID. Like in Oregon, you're in Texas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys dealt with it in a different manner. You know, we were pretty much locked down, except for golf courses. And in the state of Washington, our neighbors to the north, which the border is about 35 miles from my house, their golf courses were locked down. So everybody from Washington was coming down here to get tee times, and he couldn't get a damn tee time because they're all booked from the guys from Vancouver. All right.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's just really interesting to me that how COVID really is whatever you think of it, it was a bad situation, of course, but it really brought out some good things in people, like
Yeah.
like Golf Live.
Absolutely. And, whether it be golf live or just golf in general, back to the mental health side of things, right? I think golf is just remarkable for mental health and physical health. And I think a lot of people found that out during COVID, especially with it being one of the very few things that society was letting us go do. And I yeah, I was building this right before COVID hit. Really, like December of 2019 is really when I was sitting there at 2 in the morning with a napkin on my kitchen table, or piece of computer paper, trying to figure this out. But and then early 2020, right before COVID hit, went to the PGA website and a PGA of America website, and I emailed about 200 of them, and I got no response other than from those two, and Alan Belden being one that's still with me today. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds very interesting, and I'll take a listen to you. And so I was just excited. I had a phone call scheduled after that. But then COVID hit, and June, July, August, I started getting emails saying, hey, did you ever build that internet thing? And
Yeah.
how did that work out? And so unfortunately, it wasn't quite built until 2022 or done being built because of how complicated our live replay tech is. But a lot of those people are first adopters. And so I'm very thankful for that.
Good. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back with Keith Scioli from Golf Live right here on Grilling at the Green. You won't want to miss this, I guarantee. Welcome back to Grilling at the Green. I'm JT. We'd like to thank the folks at, of course, Oregon Crab Commission. You ever eaten Dungeness crab, Keith?
I have not. No,
Do you like seafood?
I do.
Okay. Well, if you ever come up this way, you get a hold of me and we'll do a crab feast for you. It's
That's awesome.
it's pretty awesome stuff. Also, Hammerstall knives and Heritage cookware. People ask me what kind of equipment do I use on the cooking shows and stuff that I do. That's what I use. Hammerstall knives and Heritage cookware. They're great stuff. They're made in America, all that. So you can go to their respective websites, hammerstallknives.com, heritagecookware.com, find them out there. As you know, we're talking with Keith Scioli here, Golf Live founder. Was it were you a tech guy before this? I mean, were you a computer programmer? Were you a software engineer? I mean, or did you just have an idea and then said, okay, we can do this. Now I got to go find the guys to help me make this work.
If my wife was on this pod or on this show with me right now, you would hear just a burst of laughter because prior, prior to building Golf Live, I was the guy that didn't even want to mess with the AT&T box. Okay. I was going to break it, but no, I didn't know too much on the
Golf
tech.
clap, golf clap.
I didn't know too much about tech, but now I'm decently well versed in it. And so I had the vision and I just bootstrapped it with hiring a team to please go and build out a prototype and they did that and then we started building off of that and it took a couple years and once I had it built and started proving out the concept, we did go and raise some capital and ever since then we've been off to the races.
What did you do in corporate America before that? I mean, were you a suit, as they would say?
I was so I'm from Lubbock, Texas, and went to Texas Tech, and I was a energy economics and commerce degree. And
Sure.
actually, what that is a fancy term for I went and was a landman in the oil and gas world and did all of our oil and gas lease and easement negotiations.
Well, there you go. There you go. The
I was
only
working
one,
with people out in the field.
if you could have gone from Lukenbach, you could have been in a Waylon Jennings song, that type of thing. So,
Yeah, that's right. So no, I was not in tech. I was not in golf, and I was in oil and gas and doing lease negotiations. But knew that I had a passion for this, and so I just went and started building it. And we've built out a really fun network and a lot of partners that are have incredible networks as well in the industry. So it's been a pretty wild 4 years.
you spoke briefly about your wife. That first conversation about doing this, what kind of look did you get? Was it like, yeah, right? Or yes, go for it? Or was it and walked away?
You know, I gotta give credit where credit's due. She was very excited for me to go out and do something that one that I loved, but two, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and go out and build something. And
Yeah.
she would actually always say, when are you gonna start building something for yourself instead of the man? Right. And so she was a pretty big motivator in me going out and taking that leap of faith because it's a scary, scary leap of faith.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're going to get punched in the face 9 times out of 10. That's what I always tell everybody. You got to be excited to get punched in the face when you get out of bed. And that's a crazy thing to say, but it's the honest to God truth. And she's been, or was, and has been a massive supporter of that.
I can appreciate that. I mean, my wife always had a job, you might say, and the last 25 years she worked in the education. She was a director at a college and ran several departments and all that. Me, on the other hand, Jesse James here out there riding through the Wild West, trying everything. Although I have been in the media business for a long time and done that, but I couldn't have done what I've done without my wife. I mean, a different person would have said, hit the road, Chuckles. It would have been all over with a long time ago, but she's put up with me. And there's something to say about having a good spouse.
Yeah. No, it's impossible to do without them, and especially with the kids, and it takes a lot of faith. And you know what? There's when you're building something like this, to be quite honest with you, and Golf Live is doing amazing, and I love every bit of it. But especially, early on, there are way more bad days than good days,
Yeah,
and
there.
it's
Yes.
it's kind of tough to come home and shield that every single day. But I do my best to just say, hey, every day was we're good to go. Never get too high, never get too low. But there's days that she's going to hear about, hey, today wasn't the best,
Yeah.
and for her to stay faithful and the vision right and hang in there has I'm very lucky to have that.
Very cool. Keith, real quickly, how can people find Golf Live?
Yeah, we are in both app stores, and you can download Golf Live and Google Play or iOS App Store and create your free profile today. And if you're a coach, when you create a profile, we will get to you very, very soon. It'll send us your application, and we'll be in contact with you.
Excellent. Keith Scioli from Golf Live, founder, guy who saw it all the way through, and that's saying something. Anyway, Keith, stick around for after hours, but thank you for being on Grilling at the Green. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. Really
No
appreciate
problem. We'll be back next week. We've got some good shows coming up. We always usually have pretty great shows, but Charlie Reimer, the big timer, is going to be back in a couple of weeks with us, along with some other folks. So that's something to look forward to. I always look forward to talking to Charlie. Anyway, we're going to get out of here, go out, play some golf, be happy, enjoy your family, and most of all, be kind. Take care, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome to After Hours here on Grilling at the Green. I'm JT. We want to thank you for listening this week again. You can find this show, if you're new to it, all over where your local podcasts, or national podcasts or regional, wherever platform you use, we're there. We're also a proud part of the Golf News Network on iHeart. And very soon, this show is being converted, my version of it, to a television show. And when the Golf News Net TV channels come out very shortly, we're going to be on there too. And you can watch me cook. I promise I'm not going to try to teach you anything about golf. Hell no on that. But I am going to show you how to cook a few things. So that'll be fun. We're talking with Keith Scioli today from Golf Live. And Keith, as I told you, this is the part of the show where we continue our discussion, but we don't have to stay in our own lane. Okay. We can have some fun like that. First of all, you said in the regular show that you played in a pro-am at the Live tournament. And I just wanted to know how that experience was for you. Um,
Yeah.
we've had people on the show that are pro-Live, anti-Live. Um, and I just think it's finally, and I've mellowed a little bit on this too. I think it's finally time for these people to get their acts together and move on down the road together. But regardless of that, how was the experience?
So I, I'm not. How do I say this? I'm pro everything still. Okay.
Sure.
Um, I just love the game of golf, and I want to grant access to the game of golf. And I will be honest with you and tell you that from the start, I have really, really loved, and I love the PJ Tour, but I've loved the Live experience for sure. It's really great, and um, you know, just when we were here in Houston, and I'm you know just coming from my perspective, but you're out there on the range, and to me, you look to the left and you have, John Rahm there, and then you look to the right and there's Cam Smith and there's DJ and there's Kepka. And, like I said, we played with Na, and Taylor Gooch is incredible, and DeChambeau just won the US Open, and you're going, man, there's some real talent out here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is no slouch of a tour. And one of the other things too, and I haven't really been super vocal about anything, but I think some of the media might say, hey, these guys, they got their check and now they're just riding off into the sunset. That is anything but the truth. And I know firsthand in some of these conversations with that are behind closed doors with some of these players that get very interesting, especially because they're on a team and they want their
Yeah.
team to win, right? And so there's no, just relax in, wake up and go hit it around. They're out there to win.
My only deal about that was, and still is, I'm a little old school. I think they should play 72 holes instead of 54 holes. That's me. If they did that, I think a lot of the criticism of Live, like the world golf rankings and things like that, would probably go away. But I'm not the guy to make the decision.
I
And
think there's guys on tour on the Live Tour that would agree with you on that too, which
yeah,
is interesting. And now, on the contrary, Na brought this up. Not that he was saying he was one way or the other, but
yeah,
said it is interesting, adjusting to 3 rounds and the fact that you got to have a sense of urgency day one, and because you don't have another 3 days to make up, and
right.
it is a little different perspective on the other side of things, saying it's actually kind of harder to win because you don't have a whole lot of time here. So that's just neither
Yeah,
here.
sure. I was just curious about that because I had never talked to anybody until you that had played in one of their pro-ams. I mean, they had a deal here a year ago in Portland, but they decided not to come back to Portland,
Gotcha.
out at Pumpkin Ridge. And because there was a lot of consternation with the membership out there. They they gave Pumpkin Ridge some money and they had to actually use two composites or a composite of two courses to make their 18,
Mhm.
the live guys did. Anyway, um,
I
so
I think that the pro am was one of the greatest golf experiences I've ever had. I really loved it. It was a phenomenal time. The players are very engaged with you and interactive with you, and Liv really takes care of you. I mean, we had a custom made putter made right there at the beginning of the round, and then at the end of the round, you're walking up the 18th green, and they're handing you your brand new custom made putter. And so,
wow.
yeah, there was a lot of really special things pre-round, the night before, during the round, etc., where they really take care of you. And so just the pro am side of things was an amazing experience for sure.
Well, good for you. Good
Yeah.
for you. Okay, so let's get to some of these relevant or irreverent questions, however you want to put it. Keith, if you could play a round of golf with one of your golfing heroes, who would it be?
Yeah, I, I got asked this question the other day, and if it's all right, I'm going to keep my same answer, but
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
it would actually be my little brother, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't be here today without him, and so I think that I owe Golf Live entirely to him. I know that he's not the famous guy answer that
That
a lot
doesn't
of people
matter.
like to listen to, but would love to have a round of golf with him for
I
sure.
bet you would. So, and you're a guy here that can actually do this. If you could get a lesson from one touring pro, uh, via Golf Live, who would it be?
Now that's an interesting question that I have not been asked. Um, I think that it would be a whole lot of fun to I watched it, I witnessed it whenever Taylor Gooch gave one of our clients a lesson. Taylor Gooch is an awesome guy. He's a lot of fun. And I know that that might not have been the answer anyone was expecting, but
Sure.
he is so smart too. And so I would love to get on a call with Taylor and go through a couple things.
There you go. There you go. So, Keith, if you were declared supreme ruler of golf for one day, just one day, what would you decree as supreme ruler?
Oh man. I think that we need to change this in golf, but if you're in the fairway and you're sitting in a divot, you've got to be able to move that dang ball. That is just I think the most ridiculous rule in all of sports.
That's one of the things that most people say. I would say
Really?
six out of 10 people that are on this show, if I ask them that question, and not everybody gets asked the same questions, but if I ask that, they'll say, you gotta be able to move the divot, get out of the divot, something like that.
Yeah.
If there's no question about a a sprinkler head that's 2 inches down in the ground, so why not be able to fix the divot,
Yeah.
or move out of the divot? I mean, so yeah, you're right in the ballpark, so to speak, there, Keith, with that. If you could dine with a historical figure, now it doesn't have to be from the world of golf, it could be anybody, but if you could dine with a historical figure, who would it be, and what would be on the menu?
Hmm. I hope that y'all don't mind editing out my thinking time here, but
No, it's fine.
um, I think that, and you could go way back, um, and and that's great, but I I still think that whether it be through how we view sports, how we view and this is probably a super common answer on the show, but I have a different reason probably than some. Uh, have you ever seen the show Air on Michael Jordan?
Yes.
I think that story is really remarkable and very underrated in what Michael Jordan really did for sports as
Hmm.
far as creating a brand and really leading the way for all athletes on how impactful an athlete could be for your brand, right?
Sure.
And but also just building up a company and then also winning championships, right? I think that sitting down with Michael Jordan, even though that might not be historical enough,
No, it's fine.
question would be a really remarkable experience. And we're gonna have some steaks and some cocktails and some red wine.
There you go. There you go. Um, what what was it like, and or do you remember the first time you picked up a golf club?
I don't remember the exact first time. Like I said, I was not really the golfer in the family, but I do remember my parents did live not on a golf course, but in a neighborhood with a golf course. And my dad would come home, and it was so fun whenever he would at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night take us across the street with two clubs in our hand to go play a couple holes. And that's where Anthony really fell in love with the game. But that was always a really good time and a core memory of mine to, sneak onto the course with dad and go
Oh,
play holes as a little kid, right? But it was always a lot of fun.
oh yeah. I have a lot of friends. I live 3 blocks from a golf course.
Yeah.
Um, but I have friends that live on specific holes, different courses around the country. And like I had one guy tell me once at an event we were at, and he said he lived in Florida somewhere, I don't remember. But he said, "Yeah, that 17th hole," he goes, "I know every square inch of that green, and and he goes, I can putt from anywhere on that green." I said, what about the other 17?" He goes, "Well, they're okay, but I know this one really well."
Oh, I love that. And I my son, he is 4 and he loves the game. He's a little lefty. We found that out because I bought him right-handed clubs and he was swinging them backwards. I was like, "Man, what are you doing?" And turned out he was a lefty. So I was, jokes on me. Ended up buying him lefty clubs and he swings lefty and T-ball. But the other day when we were going for uh, uh, to my in-laws, they have a lake house and they live on a golf course there. And he was in the back seat. He's going, "Hey, Dad, look, there's the golf course." And we did not have time, nor were we planning on playing that day. And he said, "Dad, look, there's the golf course. Hey, Dad, wouldn't it'd be, I think it'd be a good idea if we went out and played today, huh? We could take that golf cart and we could go. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?" And my wife looked at me in the front seat saying, "Are you training this kid or what?" I it's just it's great. I love
Oh
it.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
wouldn't that be a great idea, Dad? Yes, it would. That was really funny the other
Oh,
day.
I love it. Um, who's been and I probably know the answer on this, but who's been the biggest influence on you personally with your actual golf game?
You know, I personally with my golf game, from like I've said pretty much the whole show, Anthony has been really impactful for me from a mental standpoint and life standpoint for sure, and Golf Live. I would say that from a actual playing standpoint, though, like my golf swing itself,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I I got to give Alan Belden a lot of credit. He's a phenomenal coach and one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. He knows how to give you a feeling and a thought, and then all of a sudden you just turn into Tiger Woods. And so I really love that about him. And he doesn't overthink it. He doesn't try to change your whole swing from, let's go start 30 years ago here. He can really diagnose the problem, not what you think the problem is. So he ended up fixing the shanks, by the way.
I love that. Couple more, Keith. What's the toughest part of your job now? I know when you were first getting started, there's anybody that's an entrepreneur has been through those days, but you're up and running now. You may have good weeks, bad weeks, whatever, but what's the toughest part?
Yeah. You know, I think turning it off is a challenge for me.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is whether it be our coaches or our golfers or our dev team or our marketing team or legal team, we're in the middle of a cap raise right now. I think that all the opportunities that are out there are endless, but I really struggle turning it off. And so I think that that's the toughest part for me that I have to learn to balance a little bit better when it comes to family and stuff that's not Golf Live, right? But I live and breathe Golf Live, and I want to take care of all of our coaches and make sure we serve our golfers and build this up. And so it literally just doesn't turn off in my brain ever. And I
Sh-
think that that's maybe
Sure.
the part.
If you could give, well, this last question, if you could give one piece of advice to the world of golf, what would it be?
About your swing or just in general?
Just
And
in general, whatever pops into your head first.
I it's a little philosophical, I think, but um, I really do believe that you can do whatever you want in this world. And I didn't know a single person in the golf industry, and um, a couple years later, we have an incredible platform that has opened up a lot of doors, and I've met a lot of incredible people inside the golf space, right? And I just think that it takes working hours that not a lot of people want to work. And when other people, this is not against Netflix at all, okay? I just mentioned a Netflix series earlier in the show, but um, when other people were watching Netflix during COVID, I was grinding on Golf Live and working my day job. And
Yeah.
so I think that it just takes a lot of work. And if you just stay at it, you can really go accomplish whatever in the heck you want to in this world.
No, I think that's true. I think you have to, as you said, you have to grind on it. And that's a term we use in the golf world, but in the business world too. You have to just keep one foot in front of the other, just on a consistent pace and just keep doing it. If you do that, your chances for success are pretty high. Um,
Gotta
and
have
again, philosophically from me, because I'm, an old goat now. But the point is if you put the work in, something will come of it.
yes.
If you just try to do it off the cuff and off the fly and do kind of a half-assed job of even doing that, chances are it's not going to get very far. So,
And you gotta love the journey too. I don't know, you probably hear this a lot talking to people. But one of my mentors really early on in this journey said, hey, make sure that you are loving what you do every single day
Yes.
of that journey, become obsessed with that journey, and wherever you go will be successful. But if you're just focused on the end goal, okay, exiting, selling, whatever that might be, that a lot of entrepreneurs might come in and say, oh, we're going to go build this multi-billion-dollar company and sell it, right? If you're just focused on that, you're never going to get there because it's way too hard and it's a moving target at all times. And so it's just being focused on your day and what's in front of you, being present and enjoying it, being obsessed with it. And if you're not obsessed with it, quite honestly, you probably shouldn't start that company because I think it's a Steve Jobs quote, but so it's not my own, but um, we as humans are not wired to take rejection and get punched in the face
Yeah.
like it takes to get going. And so, but when you're obsessed with it, it's a lot of fun, no matter what's going on around you. And don't get me wrong, that's everything's going really well right now, and we're having a great time. But it didn't start that easy, and so
No,
it's maybe my advice to people.
not every day is, a slice of key lime pie, you might say. There's other things in there. Keith Scioli from Golf Live. Again, Keith, real quick, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us in the iOS App Store, Apple App Store, or the Google Play Store. And then also our Instagram is at Golf Live App or golfliveapp.com.
Very cool. Keith, thank you very much. We'll be back next week with another edition of After Hours. Until then, for Keith, myself, you go out, play some golf, be happy, smile at people, and mostly be kind. Take care, everybody. Cool.